I think that the genre of self-help is one of my favorites because this is going to be my third book from the same genre. But there is a very basic difference between this book and the books I have read before, and that is this book is a biography. So in addition to the subject of finding ways to improve your lives and to identify meaning of life, you also get to know some facts from the past, that what actually happened in the past. Although the time to which this book pertains is one of the deadliest and one of the biggest bloodsheds human history has ever witnessed. Yes, I am talking about World War II, but anyhow, you get to know about the facts, what actually happened in that particular war. So before starting the book review, let me tell you that there is one thing additional I have done from this video onwards, and that is in the description of my video, you'll get to see that all the segments of my videos are defined. So for example, if you want to skip any segment, for example background, and if you want to jump to the story directly, so you can simply select the timeline from the description and you can jump to that section. So let's start our today's review. So this book was actually written by an Australian psychiatrist whose name was Victor Frankl. He wrote this book in 1946, that is after World War II ended. So he started by sharing his experience in the Nazi concentration camps. So he basically spent almost 3 years in those camps, and he was shifted to different concentration camps, and overall he moved to 4 different concentration camps during those 3 years. So how and what actually used to happen with them was that when they used to enter any concentration camp, so these Nazi soldiers, they used to check them for physical fitness. So if there was any physical disability, or if someone was very old, so they used to be sent directly to the gas chambers. And if you are sent to gas chambers, it means that you are going to be burned to death either by poisonous gas or by poisonous chemicals or anything like that. In case if you are fortunate enough and you don't have any physical disability, so then they used to get labor kind of work from the prisoners. The capacity of the quarters in which they used to stay was 200 almost, but in that capacity they actually used to accommodate 1500 prisoners. So you can have an idea how they used to live. Then also the beds that they used to sleep on, they were made of giant tires which had a size of 6.5 feet to 8 feet, and in one bed 9 prisoners used to sleep. So clearly it was not comfortable. In terms of food, they used to get 1 single bread in a day and some soup without any meat or vegetables. Sometimes it used to have some chickpeas in it. So definitely there was undernourishment in all the prisoners. And most of the times they used to be extremely cold in those areas, so the pipes were all frozen, and because of that they could not take shower, they could not wash their hands, and with those dirty hands which they used to do any labor work or to clean themselves, with same dirty hands they used to eat, and that was a common reason they used to get sick, and they used to get shifted to sick bays. On average, there was a casualty of half a dozen prisoners dying each day. And let me tell you here that the figures officially known of human casualty during World War II was 85 million. And unfortunately, out of 85 million, almost 55 million casualties were civilians. While he was shifting from one of the camps to another, he got to know that cannibalism outbroke in that camp that he was about to leave, and he was lucky enough to escape that particular camp. And by cannibalism, it means that the prisoners in that camp, they started eating human flesh because of the kind of food they were provided with. While reading the book, I also noticed in different places that the author stopped writing different experiences because they were so disgusting and terrible, and he didn't really want to share those details. So anyway, this extent of detail is enough for us to have an idea of what actually happens in concentration camps. Now, honestly, this was the toughest part of the book for me because it was very much technical. We know that the author in the book was actually a psychiatrist, so it was all about psychotherapy, physiotherapy, no, psychotherapy, and he actually moved one step forward in explaining psychotherapy. So basically, when we talk about psychotherapy, what actually happens is that if you have any grievances from the past, if you have any depression because you did wrong in the past, so you go to the psychotherapist and you explain what actually happened, and then the psychotherapist will help you to get over with those issues and continue living your life. But logotherapy is about future. The word logo means meaning itself in Greek. The patient is helped with identifying the meaning of life. So what purpose, what meaning the patient can have in order to continue living his or her life. And then very specifically, he tells 3 ways to identify meanings of life. The first one, in fact the first 2 are very simple to explain. Number 1 is the work that you do. So if there is something that you do and you like it, that can be your purpose or meaning of your life. It's the simplest one, but we know that it is not the case with everyone. Number 2 is from your experience. So basically, if you have done multiple things in the past or you are doing right now, and one of those tasks you like, so you can take that task as meaning of your life. And number 3 is a bit difficult to explain, but it's to find meaning in suffering. So basically you suffer, but because you have a meaning for it. So there is a very good example that the author gave, and the example was that there came a patient to him saying that his wife died recently, and he is in great depression and he wants to end his life. Author asks him, what if it were you who died and it was your wife who was there grieving your death? So will you want your wife to end her life? He was told that you have to live for the sake of your wife. That's a great way to explain it. But very clearly the author says that if suffering is optional, then you should not take suffering as a means of identifying meaning of your life. You should avoid it, okay, and use any of the other 2 ways to identify the meaning of life. So since we are talking about future in logotherapy, there is one more term he explains, which is existentialism. Now existentialism is something very simple to explain. It means that every human being has a freedom to make his decision. So what normally happens is that subconsciously we tend to depend upon others to make decisions for us. For example, our boss, maybe anything which happened in the environment and that is affecting our ability to take the decisions. So you have to keep existentialism as a fact in your mind. So what actually happened was that all those prisoners who were living in the camps, so they had this thing called provisional existence, and in that case they did not value their future. They did not really think about their future because they were so depressed of the fact that they did not know how long they are going to stay in the camps and whether they will ever get out of the camps or not. Because if you stay like that and you just try to live on a hope, so it is basically delusion. You're trying to give yourself a false comfort. And you know what's the tragic end to it? Okay, you are not doing suicide, that you say that okay, you are afraid of that, but if you stay in delusion, this is very important from the book, and for me it is the best part of the book. I got to know that your state of mind has a direct connection with your state of immunity. This is very important. So how he actually explained this connection, that he actually gave some examples of some of the prisoners in the camps who hoped for freedom on a certain day, and when that did not happen, so in a matter of days time they actually died. It wasn't like they actually did a suicide or something, but mentally they became so weak, so depressed, and it directly affected their immunity levels and they died. So you have to think about it, that okay, not everyone is stuck in a concentration camp, but in real life, if you are having any tough times, okay, and you want to, and you are staying in delusion, so that is very risky, because you are not taking any decision, you are not taking any call. You have to take a decision, you have to take a call, so that you can drive your life, okay, not someone else. And if something does not happen as per your expectation, so you are able to stay strong and face it. Actually, there are so many quotes from this book I liked, but I had to choose top 3. So the first quote is, he who has a why to live for can bear with almost any how. So actually it is a smart way of writing that if you have identified a meaning of your life, to value your life, so you can have numerous ways to live it. Then another quote, luckily on the same page: it did not really matter what we expected from life, but rather what life expected from us. So basically what it is trying to say here is that we don't have to really put in expectations about our lives. We came to this world for a certain purpose, for a certain reason that is unique for us. So it is our responsibility to determine, to identify that purpose, and then make our life worth it. So the next one is actually the last 2 lines of the book, and it is a very smartly written phrase where the author is telling us what can be the worst form of a human being, and the other thing is about the worst of the catastrophes you can think about. So how it is written: since Auschwitz, we know what man is capable of, and since Hiroshima, we know what is at stake. So that was pretty much everything I wanted to cover in this book review. I'm sure that there must be a lot of stuff which I did not explain, which I did not discuss in this book review, especially when it comes to the explanation of logotherapy. So that's why I will recommend you to read this book, or if you have read this book already, then you can share your feedback on the book. Maybe there is something very important in the book which I missed out, so we can have a discussion in the comment section below. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, and please subscribe to my channel to encourage me to continue doing these videos. Thank you so much. Bye.